In another incident captured on surveillance video, inmate Jose Batista tried to hang himself. He had been arrested on domestic charges and was awaiting trial. He couldn't post the $250 bail. When he jumped up suddenly, officers beat him so severely he suffered a perforated bowel and needed emergency surgery, according to case records. Batista's case was one of 129 serious injuries over an 11-month period documented in a revealing report by the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene that was intended for internal use only, but 60 Minutes managed to get a copy. The report found 77% of the injuries involved mentally ill inmates, and their injuries were severe enough to require care beyond the capacity of jail medical doctors.
You could take a third of the 77% and say that, okay, it was the inmate who was just being violent and needed to be subdued. But 77% is, I think, tells the story. It's a problem.
Is it fair to say that Rikers is a mental institution?
Sure, it's probably one of the largest mental institutions in the nation.
How are you going to say it's a mental institution? Then why aren't we trained properly? Why don't we have those shots that they give them to calm them down? Why don't we have all of the things that they have in the mental institutions? See, this is what you call having a scapegoat. They're making corrections the scapegoat. Okay, we not psychs, as I said before. So none of those medical staff people came down there and looked and said, now let's get this guy out of here. We not medical staff. So if the medical staff comes and looks in and say, oh, nah, he all right, then guess what? To us, he all right. And this is why I tell y'all officers, always write everything in your logbook or your memo book that you carry. Every day, if you have a situation like that, you write in your logbook, inmate such and such, still on post, still not feeling well, or, word it however you want to word it. But write it in your logbook, and when the captain come and sign, she or he is acknowledging that they read that, because they're supposed to read everything that you write. And now they're assuming responsibility. Period. This is not the officer's fault. But yet, who gets blamed for it? Who loses their job for it? The officer. I'm going to tell y'all a story about how I saved the inmate life, and they tried to write me up for it. Not, did I say try to write me up? They ain't tried, they wrote me up. Yeah, but I digress for now.
Selling said the staff of the private medical contractor failed to do the required daily rounds and never informed him about Ballard's deteriorating condition. The city's contract with the private medical firm was not renewed. Bradley Ballard is not the only mentally ill inmate to have died in custody in recent years. In 2014, U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara filed the first criminal civil rights case in a decade against a Rikers officer or supervisor in connection with the poisoning of mentally ill inmate Jason Echeverria, who died after ingesting toxic soap while in solitary confinement. As seen in this video that was entered into evidence, Echeverria, a robbery suspect who was also awaiting trial, was escorted to a cell where he swallowed the toxic soap that was given to him for cleaning his cell. A few hours later, according to court documents, Correction Officer Raymond Castro alerted Unit Supervisor Captain Terrence Pendergrass that Echeverria needed medical attention. According to Castro's testimony, Captain Pendergrass said, "Don't call me if you have live breathing bodies. Only call me if you need a cell extraction or if you have a dead body." Another correction officer, Angel Lazarte, testified as to what happened next. A pharmacy technician on her rounds said Echeverria could die. He then approached Pendergrass, and Pendergrass told him to write an injury report. You can see on the tape, Pendergrass then went to look into Echeverria's cell himself. He returned and interrupted the writing of the report. Pendergrass led Lazarte away from the desk. After they talked, Lazarte pocketed the report. According to court records, the report was never filed. Echeverria was discovered dead the next morning. The medical examiner ruled his death a homicide due to neglect and denial of medical care. Captain Pendergrass was convicted in December 2014. A jury found that Pendergrass violated Jason Echeverria's constitutional rights by deliberately ignoring his pleas for help and depriving him of urgent medical care, leaving Echeverria to die alone in his cell. Pendergrass was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Officers Castro and Lazarte have since been fired.
Absolutely.
Union President Norman Seabrook said his officers don't have the training to deal with mentally ill inmates like Jason Echeverria and Bradley Ballard.
Your men are not trained,
And women. No, they're not
your
trained.
men and women are not trained to deal with mental illness.
Not at all.
We asked Norman Seabrook about the internal report showing the vast majority of excessive force cases involving mentally ill inmates.
At the end of the day, shouldn't the question be, why didn't these individuals receive their medication so that they wouldn't attack a correction officer? If you're talking about an inmate that has a mental health problem, then certainly something set this person off.
Seabrook says it's not just an issue of the mentally ill. Rikers is a dangerous place, and many of his officers are assaulted every year. Seabrook wanted to show us the conditions his officers have to contend with. But when he took us out to Rikers, Department of Corrections staffers stopped us from going inside with our cameras to see the problem Seabrook is talking about. This is as far as we got, walking around the perimeter of one of the buildings with him. The city recently initiated a number of policy changes, like installing more cameras and reducing the use of solitary confinement.
This is why people that don't do their job don't like the cameras. The cameras can protect you or they can hurt you. If you're not doing your job, you're going to be hurt by the cameras. If you're doing your job, it's going to protect you. Do your job. This is simple. This is school book correction. If he's claiming he needs medical attention, send him to the clinic. If he told you he swallowed a soap ball, send him to the clinic. It ain't costing you nothing. Come, slap some cuffs on him, take him to the clinic, drop him off, and continue on about your day. It's not that serious. Also, yes, we listen to the orders of our supervisors. If not, they can write us up for disobeying a direct order. Facts. However, there is a such thing as an unlawful order. And that officer could have took it upon himself to take that inmate to the clinic and put it on paper, write it in the logbook. Maybe they could have saved the inmate life. But, these are just small little decisions that I just want to help y'all just in case, you ever come across this type of situation. You can take it into your own hands. It's a sticky situation, and that's why correction officers get paid what we get paid. Now, I'm sorry for all y'all folks in those other states that's not getting 6 figures, which is crazy to me. Because to do that type of job, baby, you deserve 6 figures. Those other states, y'all got to do better. That's crazy. Look what you faced with at any given time. You can get hurt, you can get murdered, or you can lose your whole job and your whole lifestyle from the actions of someone else because he chose to eat the soap ball. Now your whole life is ruined because someone chose to hang up in the cell right after you already walked and knew that you don't have to walk again for another 30 minutes. They knew that. So they did it right after you walked, and now you in trouble without even getting assaulted. Stuff like that can happen to you. That's why I don't understand how people who you only have to do 20 years, why are you doing 30? Why are you on this job for 30 years? I don't care how young you are. Get your pension and go. You can get another job. They taxing you anyway. You're only getting half of your salary anyway. So you might as well grab your pension, which is half of your salary, and get another job where you chilling. Until next time.